What's going on, Nick fans? This is Sheer from Sheer Brilliance Podcast. Not the usual setup, but I want to make this kind of quick. I wanted to hop on and talk a little bit about this press conference that just completed for the Utah Jazz. And they had Danny Ainge and Justin Zanuck at the podium answering questions after they made the trade for their organization as well as the trade with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Okay. And there was just a couple of things that stood out about it. I won't make this long, I promise. But a couple of things that stood out is Danny Ainge just running things over there. The press conference, I consider myself to be big on body language. You know, I've been working in higher education for about 22 years. I've been working with students and faculty and everybody. And something that's like my superpower is being able to read body language. Okay. And it doesn't take a body language expert to be able to read the body language of Danny Ainge. He is cool, calm, collected. He was just chilling with the job well done look on his face. And it was palpable, you know. Justin Zanuck, I got to look up and see what his position is in the organization. He's either the GM, if Danny Ainge is the president, he's probably the GM. And you can clearly see that he was not the highest ranking person in the room. You know, he was a little bit more, he had self-soothing techniques where he was just kind of, you know, had his arms folded or whatever have you. But needless to say, Danny Ainge, his presence was felt in that press conference. But that's not even the most of it. It was what was key is what he said. And I wanted to hop on here and really kind of talk a little bit about that because he said about two or three things that sat there and made me think, you know what? We can feel however we want to feel about Danny Ainge during his negotiations, but you can kind of see like, all right, you know, he's a veteran in this game. All right. One thing he said was when he came on in the middle of their season, you know, in that capacity, in that role, when he came on in the middle of the Utah Jazz's season, he really wanted to observe and take a look at the team and see how the team, you know, was. And he said what he picked up pretty quickly was that there wasn't as much belief in one another as he was hoping to see, even if they were performing well. He said they were winning and they were doing, you know, all the things that they needed to do to win. He said, but, and I might be paraphrasing, I don't want to put words in the man's mouth, but he basically was saying was it didn't seem like everyone believed in each other enough to get to the point of winning the championship. I think he actually mentioned as well, even when the playoffs circled around, he didn't believe that they believed they would be championship contenders. Like they were ready to put it all on the line for each other. And that's something when he said it with no apologies. He wasn't really hemming and hawing. And that's championship metal. That is someone who's been there before. That's someone who's been there side by side in the trenches to win championships, who can have an eye like that and to be able to say, you know what? I don't see it. I don't see it. And that was impressive to me. You know, for him to kind of, he said it with confidence, squared shoulders. He was just like, I didn't see it. And even after he said it, you could see that the GM felt a little bit uncomfortable. You know, he started to shift a little bit. But it is what it is. He didn't mince his words. He said, when I came in the middle of the season, I wanted to take an inventory and really observe, sit back and observe and see what it is that I see. And I think he said the thing that popped off the table was that popped off of the screen to him was that he just didn't look around and see the belief in each other from the players that he was hoping to see. So that was key to me. Something else that he said, there was a question that was posed. Pretty much the question was, at some point in the season, it was determined that we would build around Donovan Mitchell. You know, is the question. At a certain point in the season, we were going to build around Donovan Mitchell, and then there was a change of course. What was the reasoning behind that change of course? You know, and for the most part, the way the GM answered it, Justin Zanuck, one word stood out to me, and he specifically said, um, you got to look at your team and what you have. He said, we wanted to see, was it moving the needle? Did we cap out? You know, but he said, we have absolutely a team with perennial all-star players. You know, um, but we were looking to kind of see with this team, can we take it up another level? You know, and that was key to me because he said perennial all-star players, and that was a intentional use of words. All right. He didn't say championship level players or players who can take them to that next level. And it goes to show you how they viewed that personnel. That's not disrespectful, but that's exactly what you will be getting. Players who are going to be perennial all-stars, but maybe not the players equipped to take you to a championship or take you to that next level. Okay? So for them to come in and feel the need that, you know what, I think we've run our course with this roster. I think we should strike while the iron is hot, um, see what we can get back, and restart. I love what they said. They talked a little bit about opening up a championship window, you know? So in looking at this roster and knowing over the last, 5 years, 7 years, they've been competitive. They've won games, but they've only gone but so far in the playoffs. And there really wasn't an actual championship window for them. Danny Ainge coming in, he's going to be the one that's going to do what nobody wants to do. He's going to be the one to say what nobody wants to say. And he isn't going to care anything about how people feel about it, And even personally, just self-disclosure, as a leader, that's where I'm looking to get at. I'm close to it right now. When you come in and you have to do what you see is in the best interest of the organization, but there's a certain point in time where you just have to call it for what it is, state the direction that you're going to move in, and either people will get on the train with you or they're on the tracks. It's as simple as that. And in high level leadership, those are some of the type of decisions and the style that you have to follow in order to get things done. That's why I'm not mad at a Leon Rose when he doesn't meet with the media for every little move that he makes or any move that he makes, or he doesn't come out and give a debrief on it. He's very particular about when he comes before the media to make announcements about moves or to have press conferences, because especially in New York, with so much media and how vocal the fans are, and everybody has an opinion on something in a 24-hour news day, you can never make a decision without it being questioned or challenged or, hey, why don't you reconsider this? So I was really, really impressed, honestly, when I watched their press conference. It was full cap when they was just like, well, that we felt as if they had the best offer for us. And honestly, they Cleveland may have had the best offer because they gave away a lot, and they acknowledged that they gave away a lot. But to them, Donovan Mitchell at that point was worth it. And to all of us, we could see that because they have the roster in place that'll position them to at least make a little bit of a run and open up their championship window if it's there. And they do have some young tools and some nice pieces that are there as well. So, and the last thing that I will mention is a statement that I believe it was Justin Zanuck made. He said, we wanted to acquire assets. We wanted to acquire draft capital. He said this 2023 incoming draft is one of the best drafts that, there's been in years. And the 2024 draft is even better than this draft. At least that's what they're projecting. You really can't project too far down the line with 16 or 17-year-olds, but they wanted to make sure that they were in a position to be able to strike if opportunity presented itself. They talked about being ready and opportunistic for free agents who come free, or the flexibility that having draft capital and assets positions them to be able to take advantage of if those things come forward. And I say that to say this: someone who is watching that press conference may speak glowingly about the foresight that front office would have, and the shrewd negotiating skills and strategic, approach to getting assets and draft capital, and their vision for resetting, and all of the things they're saying, be ready and opportunistic and down the road. Those are all of the things that our front office um, has positioned our organization to do right now. You know what I mean? Um, and I just, once again, I just say that to kind of point out and let Knicks fans know, as much as we're ready to win right now, we are on the right track. We are absolutely on the right track. Utah giving up those pieces, um, and resetting and all of what it is that they did. I think they would be ecstatic if they were to get a player in this year's draft the caliber of an RJ Barrett. I think they would be ecstatic. I think they would look at him as being a piece to go along with Colin Sexton to start rebuilding up the Utah Jazz. We have RJ Barrett on our roster, you know? So many of the young pieces that they were asking for to have on their roster, we know that that value is there because they considered bringing them in when our negotiations were ongoing. So needless to say, I really know that we're on the right track. I'm confident of it, and I know that Knicks fans are confident of it as well. We just all differ in terms of who we would pull the trigger to make the move for. Me personally, I really think Donovan Mitchell is a talent. I think if he comes to us or considers coming to us and we consider signing him as a free agent in a few years, I think we will see where he is at that time and where we are at that time. But honestly speaking, with what Utah was asking for, you can it's probably best only to do that for superstars, like clear-cut superstars. Donovan Mitchell, at certain moments I would consider him to be a superstar, but I'm talking like unquestioned, where everybody looks at it and agrees, you know what, he's a superstar. Um, I would do it for LaMelo Ball if it wasn't Donovan Mitchell, but if it was LaMelo Ball, I'm sorry, I think that would be a move worth making because that's a point guard, and he is off the charts in many categories at that position. So he would be someone that you project is going to be a superstar in this league. He's already scratching the surface at that right now. And the other player would be a player like, excuse me, player like Giannis, who's right now in his element. You're in New York with all of the diversity and the Greek population, Greek culture, um, and he's a young superstar. You put him in there and you build around him. So those are the two players who I would deem worthy of putting forth a package from our standpoint that Cleveland put together. All right. So what say you, folks? I don't know if you had an opportunity. If you didn't, go check that press conference out. I think it's worthwhile to kind of read through some of the words. Um, it just makes me feel that much more at ease with the decision that we made not to move forward. Um, but it also validates the position that we're in and the stance that our front office is taking, by saying, you know what, we've been doing this brick by brick. We've been building this slowly and strategically. Let's stay on course. So what say you? So have a great rest of your day. I just wanted to hop on and share my thoughts. Keep in mind, same thing applies to life as applies to our team. If there's no struggle, there's no progress. And just remember this. We here, and we do have next. Cheer Brand's podcast. I'm out. Peace.